Thanks for joining us here on the CBN News Channel. I'm Ephraim Graham. So American churches are taking a controversial step to reach out to their Muslim neighbors. At least 2 congregations received national attention recently after they literally opened their doors to local Muslims, letting them use their churches to hold Muslim worship services. Heather Sells explains.
Muslims made major headlines last year when they tried to build a mosque near Ground Zero and a mega mosque in the heart of the Bible Belt in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. But even beyond those headlines is a new question. What happens when Muslims building a mosque ask to share worship space with a local Christian congregation? That's what happened recently in Alexandria, Virginia, when an Islamic center meeting in this storefront decided to build its own mosque. In the meantime, it asked Aldersgate Methodist if it could use its building for Friday prayers.
I feel like we are embodying Christianity by being welcoming.
Diane Bechtel, a member of the church's newly founded Muslim Dialogue Committee, says the church was surprised when the request came in, but now wants to get to better know its Muslim neighbors.
It's very easy to categorize a group, to demonize a group, to suspect or just not know or understand a group.
And Bechtel says she does not think sharing worship space compromises her faith.
Jesus called upon us to give hospitality to strangers, to feed the poor, to help the sick, and this is walking the walk.
In Cordova, Tennessee, outside of Memphis, Hearts-On Church received a similar request. Pastor Steve Stone says loaning out their worship space to Muslim neighbors is a great way to share the gospel.
Our Muslim brothers and sisters know that we're Jesus followers. They know we're not trading, hey, you take the Trinity, we'll take an internal jihad. You know, we're clearly Jesus followers. They know that.
But not everyone agrees that this is a biblical means of outreach. As a recent Christianity Today commentary notes, it is not self-evident that this duty to love your neighbor requires us to provide property for false worship. It also points out that good works should not lead other believers to stumble. Christians across the country may be forced to engage in such questions sooner rather than later as more and more Muslim communities continue to expand. Heather Sells, CBN News.
And Dr. Carlos Campo, president of Regent University, joins us now to sort through the implications of sharing spaces of worship. Dr. Campo, sharing worship space here, are we being neighborly as Christians, or should we be concerned that they're inadvertently spreading a false religion?
Well, I think that both are true at some level. I have concerns about long-term use of these spaces, and to be clear in what that sharing is going to be, I think is an important point as well. From the beginning, let's be clear about what this really means and what we're really talking about.
And should there be time constraints then in terms of continuing?
No question. I think that each congregation has to go to the Lord in prayer about this and be guided by the Holy Spirit in it. And if they truly feel this is something God is calling them to short-term, then that's something they may want to consider.
Reaching out to other faiths is an age-old practice for Christians. What are the best ways for Christians to reach out, and what should they steer clear of?
Well, I think if you use the Lord as our guide, you know, the Word tells us that He came in grace and truth. And I think we're great on the grace side, Ephraim, but sometimes it's the truth side where we can get a little bit compromising. And I think that's what we need to do to be clear here. When the Lord talked to the woman at the well, you know, He was clear in loving her. He transformed her life, but He also said, you know not what you worship. He wasn't politically correct in terms of His advice to her. And I think that's where we have to have the dividing line. We don't want to be so welcoming that we lose the gospel message
Indeed.
here.
Right now, of course, there are major tensions when we talk about the Muslim world here. We saw in Heather's story. Given that, should Christians make reaching out to Muslims a priority?
Well, in terms of what you're being called to, I think, is the biggest point. There are going to be more conflicts than ever as Muslim faith is growing in America, as you know. So we're going to see more and more of these kinds of conflicts. I always believe that Christians need to put the Lord first in terms of the way they're approaching Muslims. I like the fact that the conversations are going on, but let's not compromise the gospel, because the Lord will be true. And He is compelling. And if we come to Muslims or folks of any faith with the truth of the gospel, let God be true in all of these things to draw people to Himself.
Do you think this is going to be a growing trend? We're seeing it unfold in several places, and naturally it's causing a lot of questions. Do you think we're going to see more of this?
We're going to see the coming together of the two faiths more and more. I don't know that we're going to see more and more Christian congregations giving over their space to Muslims, but I do hope that we can keep the conversation Christian. I hope that we can keep that going, absolutely.
Indeed. Dr. Carlos Campo, thank you so much for joining us. Always appreciate it.
Bless you.
Thank you. An Iraqi immigrant accused of killing his own daughter in a so-called honor killing is heading to trial in Arizona today. Authorities say Fali al-Malaki ran over his 20-year-old daughter and her boyfriend's mother with his Jeep. He said it was because his daughter had become too westernized. Honor killing takes place in some Middle Eastern cultures when daughters are accused of bringing shame on the family. Financial experts say America's economic recovery is gaining traction. In the latest survey of the National Association for Business Economics, 82% expect the economy to grow 2 to 4% this year. That is up from the 54% who felt that way back in October. About a third say hiring has improved at their companies. President Obama is giving his State of the Union address on Tuesday, and he's expected to call for more job creation and to propose what he calls investing in America's future. But Republicans say investing is a code word for new spending, and they're actually looking for ways to cut the federal deficit. They hope to slash more than $2 trillion over the next 10 years. Jennifer Wishon has the story.
The Republican Study Committee has released a new Spending Reduction Act that returns federal spending levels to those of 2008, or in other words, slashes $2.5 trillion from the federal budget over the next decade. On the chopping block, Amtrak subsidies worth $1.5 billion per year, public broadcasting for $445 million in savings, and a $335 million savings from the National Endowment for the Arts and National Endowment for the Humanities. The act puts an end to federal control of mortgage finance firms Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. It also cuts the civilian federal workforce by 15% through attrition and freezes federal pay for 5 years. Another thing House leaders are vowing not to spend taxpayer dollars on is abortion.
I think the will of the people is that we enact this clear-cut prohibition on the use of taxpayer funds for elective abortions.
When there's no public subsidy for abortion, the number of abortions drop by about 25%.
Pro-life Democrats, led by Chicago Congressman Daniel Lipinski, are also throwing their support behind the bill.
We have, over the years, reached a general consensus that the federal government should not be using taxpayer funds for abortion.
The Democratic majority in the Senate has no appetite for the deep budget cuts proposed by House Republicans. It's a disagreement that has the potential to set up a government shutdown this spring and ongoing debates on just what Washington can afford and what it can't. Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, Washington.
Egypt's top security official says Gaza militants are to blame for the deadly suicide bombing outside a Coptic Christian church on New Year's Day. That attack killed 21 people and sparked 3 days of angry protests from Christians in Cairo and several other cities. Egypt's interior minister says there is conclusive evidence showing the Army of Islam was behind it. The al-Qaeda-inspired group dismissed the accusation on its website. Terror experts say the attack bears the imprint of an al-Qaeda-style attack. New documents show Palestinian leaders were willing to make more concessions to Israel than their people wanted. Now Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas is feeling the heat. Al Jazeera and the British Guardian newspaper released the documents going back over several years of Mideast peace talks. Chris Mitchell has that story.
They're calling it PalliLeaks, the latest revelations of secret diplomatic documents. This time about the Israeli-Palestinian negotiating process.
I think that it's a sabotage from within the Palestinian Authority. Somebody who wanted to inflict damage on Abu Mazen and the negotiation team leaked it to Al Jazeera for this reason or another.
Unrelated to WikiLeaks, the Palestine Papers allegedly show the scale of proposed Palestinian concessions to the Israelis, including on the right of return for Palestinian refugees and PA cooperation with Israel in its war against Hamas in Gaza 2 years ago. But most shockingly, a readiness to compromise on Jerusalem and even the Temple Mount. Palestinian affairs expert Pinchas Inbari has been reading the original documents. He told CBN News the way Al Jazeera presented the information positioned Abbas against Palestinian icon Yasser Arafat.
Al Jazeera put it in a way that they betrayed Arafat's legacy. In all points that Arafat refused to negotiate or to give in to the Israelis, they were ready to go ahead with.
Chief Palestinian negotiator Saeb Erekat said Abbas had refused to make far-reaching land deals in Jerusalem. The PA claimed Al Jazeera had declared war on the Palestinians. One of the immediate damages to the PA, Inbari said, is that while they are in the middle of a campaign to delegitimize Israel, they themselves are now being delegitimized. These leaks could be the last nail in the coffin of Israeli-Palestinian peace talks. As Inbari put it, it's the end of secret diplomacy. From now on, there's no more double talk. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Coming up, rallying for life on the anniversary of Roe v. Wade, why pro-lifers are more optimistic than ever before about rolling back abortion here in America.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
These are the greatest stories ever told. Presented by Academy Award winner Charlton Heston.
Thus saith the Lord of Israel, let my people go.
Join Charlton Heston as he travels the sacred lands of the Bible.
I'm going to take you with me on a journey exploring the stories in the Bible and the ancient land where they happened. This is said to be the very garden. This, the very rock where Jesus prayed for strength.
Now the Bible comes to life like never before. Time Life presents Charlton Heston's The Bible.
And Moses cast the tablets from his hands.
Praised by critics, this landmark TV series is now available on digitally remastered DVDs. You'll be inspired by the greatest stories from the Old and New Testaments, enhanced by historic works of art. Get Charlton Heston Presents the Bible on 4 DVDs for $49.99. Call with your credit card and save $10.
And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son.
And that's not all. You'll also get a free bonus DVD that takes you behind the scenes. And if you call in the next 10 minutes, we'll ship for free. That's an additional savings of nearly $7.
For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory, forever and ever.
Call now to get Charlton Heston's The Bible on 5 DVDs for just $39.99. Call in the next 10 minutes and we'll ship for free.
Now therefore go, and I will be with thee.
Call 1-800-748-5167 to order Charlton Heston Presents the Bible for $39.99 and receive free shipping when you call in the next 10 minutes with your credit card.
Welcome back to the CBN News Channel. I'm Charlene Israel in our Washington Bureau. Thousands of pro-lifers are here in the nation's capital for a day of protests and mourning on the 38th anniversary of the Supreme Court decision that legalized abortion. Events began over the weekend as pro-lifers held the second annual Life Prize Awards. The awards recognize individuals who have made outstanding strides in preserving and upholding the sanctity of life. This year's recipients include the Terri Schiavo Life and Hope Network, Douglas Johnson of the National Right to Life Committee, and Dr. Alveda King, niece of civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The honorees say they are encouraged by the progress of the pro-life movement, but admit there is a lot more work to be done before abortion is abolished in America.
We have a Supreme Court now that has actually upheld some pro-life legislation. When back in the 1970s and 80s they were striking things down right and left. So we can see the prospect for great gains, but the next 2 years are going to be really critical, and the next presidential election is going to be critical.
Joining us now is another one of those award recipients, Kristen Hawkins of Students for Life. Kristen, tell us about the progress the pro-life movement is making in America.
Well, we've seen the pro-life movement grow leaps and bounds just in the past few years. Look at what happened since President Obama has been elected president. We have seen now that national polls are proving what we already know, that America is a pro-life nation. We know that this generation of young people today, we're pro-life. In most cases, we're more pro-life than our parents. You have ultrasound technology, the internet. All of these things are coming to a critical mass where I truly believe we're going to see abortion abolished in America because it can't stand very much longer like this.
What are some of the challenges that still lie ahead?
Well, you know, we have a pro-abortion president and a pro-abortion Senate, and that's a huge obstacle for us. We have a pro-life House of Representatives, but if we can't get things passed through the Senate or if the president vetoes them, we're not going to get much done here in Washington.
The new House has actually introduced legislation to make sure there's no federal funding of abortion, and they've made it a priority. What does that tell you about John Boehner and the rest of the GOP leadership?
It tells us that Speaker Boehner and the GOP leadership are taking pro-lifers seriously. And this is something as pro-lifers we've always been very concerned about, is does the GOP use pro-life, those words, to kind of get us motivated for the election, but then put us on the back burner after they get in the office. And I think by introducing this legislation, the third piece of legislation this year was a pro-life piece of legislation. So that shows us where this leadership stands on life.
What role are students playing, Kristen, in today's March for Life events?
Sure. Well, you'll notice if you see any footage of today's March for Life that the majority of people there are young people, but you won't hear this reported by the mainstream media. So what we've done is we've created the National Pro-Life Youth Rally with the 40 Days for Life, Rock for Life, and Human Life Alliance. And we're going to hold this rally on the U.S. Capitol lawn right after this year's March for Life. We already have over 3,000 students pre-registered, and we expect to have between 5,000 and 10,000 students joining us right after the March for Life. And yesterday, we had over 1,800 kids at our Students for Life America conference. They were gearing up for today, and they were so excited to make history because it was the largest pro-life conference in America.
Pretty impressive to see the young people taking charge. Kristen Hawkins, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Up next, the new face of Christianity in China. Young business leaders risking it all to spread the gospel.
What makes the miracles of Jesus even more miraculous? Standing where they happened, in Israel. Come explore Jerusalem, where Jesus opened blind eyes. Visit the hills of Galilee, where Jesus fed the multitude. Stroll through Capernaum, where Jesus lived and taught and healed. To learn more about standing where it all happened, in Israel, visit www.goisrael.com. Come visit Israel.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Call our toll-free number or visit our website. A free idea kit and DVD will be sent to your home so you can discover all the benefits of owning your own pool. Compared to traditional pools, endless pools are simple to install, easy to maintain, and economical to run. Our precision-engineered pools enable you to swim or exercise against a smooth current that adjusts to any speed and ability. Endless pools are perfect for year-round health and fitness, relaxation, and family fun. Our free idea kit and DVD will show you how easy it is for the whole family to enjoy a pool right in your backyard or home. An endless pool or an endless pool swim spa can become a showplace for your home. Call our toll-free number or visit the website to find out more about endless pools. The free idea kit will show you just how easy it is to be able to swim at home.
What makes the miracles of Jesus even more miraculous? Standing where they happened, in Israel. Come sail the Sea of Galilee, where Jesus calmed a raging storm. Experience Jerusalem, where Jesus restored a paralyzed man. Explore Capernaum, where Jesus spoke a centurion servant into health. To learn more about standing where it all happened, in Israel, visit goisrael.com. Come visit Israel.
You'll never be the same.
Decades ago, most Christians in China lived in the countryside, but now that's changing. Young professionals are bringing faith to the big cities like Beijing and Shanghai. George Thomas has that story now from Beijing.
It's Wednesday, just after 7 p.m. In an apartment not too far from the city center, a group of men and women in their late 20s discuss how to thrive in their rapidly changing nation. All are members of China's new privileged class, highly educated, cosmopolitan, middle or even upper class of urban professionals. And they're all Christians.
We've never had it so good in China today, but there's more to life than just money and materialism.
Worship God, worship heaven.
Jia Litian works for one of Beijing's largest tour operators. Like young urban professionals in other parts of the world, he and his peers live in high-rise apartment buildings. They own a car, sometimes two. They are tech-savvy, they travel, they have money to spend. But the pressure to succeed and thrive is fierce.
The competition for jobs in the big cities is intense. Status is everything. How much you make, how big is your apartment, what kind of car you drive. This is what people focus on.
The government makes it possible for us to earn money and have a good life, but how do we handle all these pressures? The government doesn't have answers for this.
And it is in this rapidly changing society that religion, especially Christianity, finds itself filling a spiritual void.
I'm a different person today.
23-year-old Zhe Kun joins the growing rank of those in these cities who are embracing Christianity in record numbers.
The last couple of years have been difficult for me. I have struggled professionally and personally. But then someone introduced me to Jesus, and now I have a different outlook on my life.
This is music to the ears of Zhu's pastor.
God called me to start a church to reach these young people with the gospel.
Jin Tiangming leads Shuwang, one of the largest unregistered, sometimes called underground churches in Beijing. A graduate of China's most prestigious university, Jin's church began 18 years ago with 10 people. Now, close to 1,000 attend his weekly service.
The majority of them have graduated from college and work in the city. We have lawyers, professors, doctors, business people.
He says similar gatherings are springing up in other big cities, attracting the white-collar working world.
They are looking for ways to handle the dramatic changes in China, and they're finding answers in Christianity.
Back at the apartment, Jia Litian helps run a Bible study for new converts in the city. He says this is the new face of Christianity in China. Such believers are part of what some are calling China's third church.
But
Peter, not his real name, has worked with China's underground churches for decades. CBN News agreed to conceal his identity to protect him.
They're called the Third Church because they're very different than what used to be the only two real kinds of churches in China, which were the registered church, registered with the government, and then the unregistered churches, usually called house churches, which thrived in the countryside in the 70s and 80s. But then after the 1989 demonstrations, these urban, educated, well-to-do Christians started forming urban churches.
And while Christianity continues to grow in China's countryside, it is here in the big cities like Beijing that experts say the church is growing the fastest.
Whereas the rural church was not able to have an impact on society as a whole, the third church in the cities is able to do that because they're comprised of leaders who can have an impact. Businessmen, government officials, professors, leaders in engineering, every aspect of life.
Pastor Jin's congregation is technically an illegal gathering. You see, he hasn't registered his church with the government, nor is it part of any of the state-sanctioned churches. But rather than hide from authorities, Jin and others who lead such congregations in the big cities want to work with the government officials. But let's be clear, the Chinese government maintains a tight grip on religion. Torture, arrests, imprisonment, and beatings of Christians are still practiced, yet the authorities in recent years have made positive overtures toward leaders of the house church, especially those in the urban areas.
The church in China is growing, and Christianity is becoming more and more a part of mainstream society. The authorities know this, and they're showing a willingness to work with us.
A gesture welcomed by these young believers as they use faith to navigate the opportunities and challenges of China today. George Thomas, CBN News, Beijing.
We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Millions of women worldwide love Bare Minerals.
This is smooth, it's nice, and it covers. I like that.
Only Bare Minerals looks like beautiful bare skin, while it covers whatever you want it to. And now you can get our latest kit with our totally new, totally spill-proof Click Lock Go Foundation. For over 75% off retail, our new kit comes with Bare Minerals Foundation in the shade that's just right for you. Warmth for a healthy glow. Mineral Veil, the ultimate finishing touch, and Bare Minerals Flawless Application Brush. Call now and get 3 full-size gifts worth $57.95 free. Purchased separately, you'd spend over $120. Our original Get Started kit was a great deal at 2 payments of $29.99. But now you can get all this for just 1 payment of $29.99. Save over $90 and get a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Call 1-800-376-4174. Ask how you can receive this handy compact. Call 1-800-376-4174 now.
It's impossible to close an open can with a pop top. Open cans spill in the fridge. What a mess. And open cans lose their fizz. What a waste. Introducing Bottle Top. It turns your can into a bottle with the snap of a cap. Open metal cans can't travel. What a waste. Bottle Top turns your can into a bottle that's perfectly portable. You can't do this with an open can. Bottle Top lets any soda keep its carbonation. Look, bugs are gross, but Bottle Top protects your drink from insects. When you're done drinking, just pop it off. Rinse under hot water and reuse. Bottle Top keeps drinks from spilling. Now get 6 colored Bottle Tops for just $10. Call now and get 6 more. Plus, we'll send you the Can Top Popper. Just pay separate shipping and handling. You get 12 amazing Bottle Tops, plus the Can Top Popper, all for just $10.
Call 1-800-377-9176. But hurry, call now. We're giving away a bonus 6 more Bottle Tops and the Can Top Popper with today's orders. That's 1-800-377-9176. Call now.
And finally today, maybe you've noticed it is really cold outside, and it's so bad right now in the Northwest and Midwest, many outdoor activities are downright dangerous.
I have worn long johns, 2 sweaters, 2 scarves, and a blanket.
New York is enduring its coldest temperatures in 6 years. Boston may drop below 0 for the first time since 2005. In Minneapolis, some homeless have had to go to an overflow shelter. And in Michigan, this thermometer reads more than 30 below 0.
Girl Scout cookies!
The weather is not record-breaking, but it is challenging, and authorities warn it can be dangerous.
People get acclimated to living in a situation like this. They don't realize the difference between, 20 degrees above and 20 degrees below 0, and just how lethal that can be.
Massachusetts elementary school principals have been advised to hold recess inside today, and homeless shelters are extending their hours. But there is reason for hope. Temperatures in Chicago are expected to hit the 20s this week. Meanwhile, in the South and on the East Coast, it is time to gear up. A midwinter storm may dump a foot of snow if it stays on track. That's going to do it for us at this hour. Hope you'll join us again next time. Have a great day.
Fresh, wholesome juice. There's nothing like it. But until now, you had to stress and strain and make a huge mess to get just a little bit of juice. But not anymore, thanks to the Jack LaLanne Power Juicer. You can drop in whole vegetables, whole fruits, apples, oranges, celery, cucumbers with no chopping, no slicing, no struggling. And thanks to the Power Juicer's revolutionary patented extraction technology, you can get up to 30% more juice than those other juicers. Doctors recommend we get 5 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. With the Power Juicer, you'll be drinking your recommended daily allowance in just seconds. And the pulp from the extra large pulp catcher can be used to make pasta sauces, healthy desserts, and much more. The Power Juicer is dishwasher safe, so cleanup's a breeze, and the powerful motor is guaranteed for life. Order the Jack LaLanne Power Juicer now for just 2 easy payments of $49.90. And as part of this special TV offer, we'll also send you this amazing recipe guide filled with over 60 of Jack's favorite recipes. Try the Jack LaLanne Power Juicer in your home risk-free for 30 days. If you're not completely satisfied, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price, no questions asked. Call now.
Life can be tough. There are challenges for all of us. Jesus told us to pray for one another, and that's exactly what we want to do. On 700 Club Interactive, we use technology to bring Christians together to pray for each other. Meet others just like you, and talk or share with them in real time. Watch God work miracles in people's lives. Be part of 700 Club Interactive, weekdays at 11 a.m. on CBN.com.